Why would you put, it's almost like saying, look, why don't you just make them angels and be up here in heaven with us, you know? Why don't you just make them angels, pop them into heaven, he's fine. Why would you put him on earth where he could feel distant from you, where he could work out his worst criminal tendencies, act them out, feeling somehow independent and apart from you and free to do whatever he wants, when you could just make him and he's fine? Why would you put him on earth where he could feel distant from you, where he could work out his worst criminal tendencies, act them out, feeling somehow independent and apart from you and free to do whatever he wants, when you could just make them angels and put them into heaven and make them perfectly submissive to your will? I looked at that question and said, that's my question. I'm not even a single verse into the story of mankind, and there before me I see my question. That whole question, everything that I ever thought, everything that I ever experienced, everything that I ever knew was in that question. It was as if the author took my life and wanted to pick out exactly the right question to humiliate me, to provoke me, to anger me. Why create man, this most destructive and violent creature, when you could make him angels? And then look at the answer. And he said, God said, truly I know what you do not know. You know, in modern parlance, we would say, I know exactly what I'm doing. I read that and said, what? You know what you do not know? You know exactly what you're doing? Well, please inform me. Tell me what you're doing. Because, you know, I'm 28 years old and I haven't figured out it yet. And I have a lot of issues that I'm still dealing with that's connected to this question. You can't just get off that easy. You can't just tell me you know exactly what you're doing. Not after what I've been through. Not after you made me this way. And then I realized, of course, I was arguing with a God I didn't even believe in. And that would happen several times as I read through the Quran. And sometimes I would just get into so agitated by what I read, I'd start arguing with this voice that I'm reading before me, that's calling to me. So we turn to the next verse.
What verse is this? It
turns out that the Quran just doesn't dismiss the question. It starts to answer it a little bit. And in the next verse it says, and he taught Adam, God taught Adam, the names of all things. And then he placed them before the angels and said, tell me their names if you are right. So this verse is clearly referring to the previous one. But notice what it says. Now, from my own background, I remember Adam naming things, but it wasn't connected to any answer to any philosophical question. But here, notice what it says. And he taught Adam the names of all things. And I realized already, just from the first verse, you got to read these verses very carefully because it's packed with a lot of symbolism and meaning. And he taught Adam the names of all things. So here we see Adam is not only just a creature who knows how to name things, who's acquiring the gift of language, but he's also a learning creature. God is teaching him. And right here, right in this verse, and it'll come even clearer in the subsequent verses, that the very first thing that the Quran is going to emphasize here is man's intellect. He is a learning creature. He is taught. And what is he taught? What is one of the great intellectual gifts he's given in response to the angel's question? The gift of language.
Language.
Because through language, mankind could not only learn, but he could learn things not only through his own experience, but he could learn things that other people have experienced of times and places that are hundreds, thousands of years and miles separated from him. And so that all our knowledge becomes cumulative. Every generation learning from the generation before it. I'm learning today from authors I read from other sides of the world that may have existed 2,000 years ago.
All our knowledge is cumulative. That's beautiful. Because of language.
Mankind could not only learn, but he could learn things not only through his own experience, but he could learn things that other people have experienced of times and places that are hundreds, thousands of years and miles separated from him. And so that all our knowledge becomes cumulative. Every generation learning from the generation before it. I'm learning today from authors I read from other sides of the world that may have existed 2,000 years ago. And so we all contribute to our collective learning and knowledge. And so I'll see later in the Quran When the Quran will emphasize this again and again and again. Like in one verse it says, read in the name of your Lord who created a man out of a tiny creature that clings. Read, it commands the reader. For your Lord is most bountiful. Why is he most bountiful? What great gift did he give you? For he taught man the use of the pen, and through it taught him what he otherwise could not know. And time again, the Quran will call upon man to use his intellectual faculties and swear by his intellectual faculties, and to use them correctly because they play a fundamental role in guiding him to truth. I never came upon a scripture that puts so much emphasis on the correct use of our intellectual faculties, on the harnessing of reason in helping us attain to faith. And he taught Adam the names of all things. And then he placed them before the angels and said, tell me their names if you are right. Okay, you have this you have this natural question about this creation of mankind. Here, this mankind is this human being, this human creature is a learning creature. He has many intellectual gifts. Here, I'm going to place these things before you. Tell me their names if you are right about man. And what did the angels say? In the next verse they say, glory to you. We have no knowledge except what you have taught us. In truth, it is you who are knowing, the wise. They say this task, this intellectual test that's put before them is beyond their grasp. Notice what they emphasize. We have no knowledge. This would take knowledge. This would take an intellect that they don't possess. In truth, it is you who are knowing, the wise. You got it. It's easy for you. You're the knowing, the wise. You have knowledge. You have wisdom. But this would take knowledge and wisdom that is beyond us. And so in the next verse we read, and he said, "O Adam, tell them their names." And when he had told them their names, notice how it's just like it's nothing for him. For mankind, he has this phenomenal ability. And when he had told them their names, as if it was just a triviality for man, he names them. "Oh, Adam, tell them their names." And when he had told them their names, God said, "Did I not tell you that I know what is unseen in the heavens and the earth? And I know what you reveal and conceal?" And he's clearly going back to the angel's question. Yes, you have these natural concerns about the creation of mankind. Yes, he could do these evil things. But look at this tremendous intellect he has. This is something you have overlooked that you haven't considered. And that's clearly the point of these verses. Even though I felt that the author didn't quite, it was as if I realized that he didn't misunderstand the story. He was taking one of the great stories in the history of humankind, one of the fundamental greatest stories in the history of mankind, and molding it and using it as a vehicle for an entirely original message. And God said, "Did I not tell you that I know what is unseen in the heavens and the earth? And I know what you reveal and what you conceal?"
I want to read these verses. What verses are these, guys? Okay, I know it's in Surah 2, but Surah 2 is pretty fat. Like yo mama. All right. Let's read these verses, guys. I think it'll help us clarify. The cow. I'm going to read from the beginning, guys. In the name of the God, the merciful, the compassionate. Alif. This book is not to be doubted. It is a guide for the righteous who believe in the unseen and are steadfast in prayer, who give from what we gave them, who believe in what has been revealed to you and what is revealed before you, and have absolute faith in the life to come. That's my favorite verse of the Quran. The first time I read the Quran, I realized it's all about having absolute faith in the life to come. These are rightly guided by their lords. These shall surely succeed. As for the unbelievers, it is the same whether or not you forewarn them. They will not have faith. God has set a seal upon their hearts and ears. Their sight is dimmed, and grievous punishment awaits them. And some there are who declare, we believe in God in the last day, yet they are not true believers. They seek to deceive God and those who believe in him. But they see none save themselves, though they may not perceive it. There is a sickness in their hearts which God has aggravated. Grievous punishments awaits them for their lies they ever told. If they are told, you shall not do evil in the land, they reply, surely we are doing only what is good, but it is they who are the evildoers, though they may not perceive it. And if they are told, believe as the people believe, they reply, are we to believe as fools believe? It is they who are fools if they but knew it. And when they meet the faithful, they declare, we too are believers. But when alone in their demons, they say to them, we follow none but you. We were only mocking. God will mock them and keep them long in sin, ever straying from the right path. Such are those that barter guidance for error. They profit nothing, nor are they on the right path. They are like one who kindled a fire, but as soon as he lit it up around them, God put it and left them in darkness. They do not see. Deaf, dumb, and blind, they will never return to the right path. Or like those who beneath the dark storm. Guys, we're just reading the story that he's sharing right now so we can better understand what he's saying. Stir 2. Or like those beneath a dark storm cloud charged with thunder and lightning, thrust their fingers into their ears at the sound of every thunderclap for the fear of death. Godless encompasses the unbelievers. The lightning almost snatches away their sight. Whenever it flashes upon them, they walk on. But as soon as the darkness, they stand still. Indeed, if God pleased, he could take away their hearing and their sight. God has power over all things. You people, worship your Lord who has created you and those who have gone before you, so that you may guard yourselves against evil, who has made the earth and a bed for you, for the sky a dome, and has sent water from the sky to bring forth fruits for your sustenance. Do not knowingly set up deities besides God. And if you doubt what we reveal to our servant, produce one servant comparable to it. Call upon your idols to assist you if what you say be true. But if you fail, as you are sure to fail, then guard yourselves against the fire whose fuel and humans and stones prepare for the unbelievers. And proclaim joyful tidings to those that believe and do good works. They shall dwell in gardens, watering by running brooks. Whenever they are given fruit to eat, they will. This is what we used to eat before, for they shall be given the like. Wedded to chaste spouses, they shall abide therein forever. Surely God does not disdain to make comparison with the gnat or with the larger creature. The faithful know what it is, the truth from their Lord, but the unbelievers ask, what could God mean by this comparison? By such comparison, God confounds many and enlightens many, but he confounds none except the ungodly, who break God's covenant after accepting it, and put asunder what God has hidden and united, and perpetuate corruption in the land, all who dearly be lost ones. Verse 29. How can you deny God? Did he not give you life when you were dead? And will he not cause you to die and then restore you to life? Will you not return to him at last? He created for you all the earth contains, and ascending to the sky, he fashioned it into several heavens, and he has knowledge of all things. And when your Lord said to the angels, I am placing on earth one that shall rule as my deputy, they replied. Verse 30, here we go. This is what he's talking about. And when your Lord said to the angels, I am placing on earth one that shall rule as my deputy, they replied, Will you put there one that will do evil and shed blood when we have for so long sung your praises and sanctified your name? He said, I know what you know not. He taught Adam the names of all things and then set them before the angels, saying, Tell me the names of these if what you say be true. Glory be to you, they replied. We have no knowledge except that which you've given us. You alone are real, are all-knowing and wise. Then said he, Adam, tell them their names. And when Adam had named them, he said, Did I not tell you that I know the secrets of the heavens and the earth and know all that you revealed to you that you conceal? And when we said to the angels, prostrate yourselves before Adam, they all prostrated themselves except Satan, and his pride refused to become an unbeliever. So Satan was the only one who didn't bow. We said, Adam, dwell with your spouse in paradise, and both of you eat of its fruits, and your hearts content wherever you will. But never approach this tree, or you shall both become transgressors. But Satan lured them hence and brought about their banishment. Get you down, we said, and be enemies to each other. The earth will provide you for an abode and comforts for a time. Then Adam received commandments from his Lord, and his Lord relented towards him. He is relenting one, the compassionate. Get you down hence, he said. When my guidance is revealed to you, those that follow my guidance shall have nothing to fear or regret. Those who deny and reject a revelation shall be the immense of fire, wherein they shall abide forever. Wait, where is the verse that he's talking about? Oh, I definitely need Jeffrey. I'm trying to read the verse that he's talking about. It said verse 30. And when your Lord said to the angels, I am placing on the earth one that shall rule as my deputy, they replied, Will you put there one that will do... Oh! Guys, remember, I have terrible comprehension, okay? And when your Lord said to the angels, I am placing on the earth one that shall rule as my deputy, they replied, Will you put there one that will do evil and shed blood when we have for so long sung your praises and sanctified your name? He said, I know what you know not. He taught Adam... He said, I know what you know not.
See? And using it as a vehicle for an entirely original message. And God said, did I not tell you that I know what is unseen in the heavens and the earth? And I know what you reveal. But this would take knowledge and wisdom that is beyond us. And so in the next verse we read, and he said, "O Adam, tell them their names." And when he had told them their names, notice how it's just like it's nothing for him. For mankind, he has this phenomenal ability. And when he had told them their names, as if it was just a triviality for
Maurice
man,
is here.
he named.
Grayson, why don't you read from the Quran that I sent you? Maurice, it is. I am moving out of this apartment, so I had it send it to my home in Houston, which I am going to tomorrow. So I will see if it is there tomorrow. Looking forward to reading a better translation. Thank you so much.
Names them. For mankind, he has this phenomenal ability. And when he had told them their names, as if it was just a triviality for man, he names them. "Oh, Adam, tell them their names." And when he had told them their names, God said, "Did I not tell you that I know what is unseen in the heavens and the earth? And I know what you reveal and conceal?" And he's clearly going back to the angel's question. Yes, you have these natural concerns about the creation of mankind. Yes, he could do these evil things. But look at this tremendous intellect he has. This is something you have overlooked, that you haven't considered. And that's clearly the point of these verses. Even though I felt that the author didn't quite, it was as if I realized that he didn't misunderstand the story. He was taking one of the great stories in the history of humankind, one of the fundamental greatest stories in the history of mankind, and molding it and using it as a vehicle for an entirely original message. And God said, "Did I not tell you that I know what is unseen in the heavens and the earth? And I know what you reveal and what you conceal?" In other words, didn't I tell you I know exactly what I'm doing? And then in the next, and didn't I not tell you that I know what you reveal and conceal? I looked at that. What question what did they reveal and what did they conceal? What did their question reveal and conceal? I thought about it for a minute. Oh, it's obvious. What did their question reveal? You just go back and look at the question. It revealed the sinful and sinister propensities of man. I mean, it's obvious, right? Why are you all looking at me like that? You're starting to scare me. You're all looking very serious. Am I losing you? Wow. Okay. So they revealed the sinister and evil.
This guy he seems so genuinely nice.
Propensities of man. But what did their question conceal? And all you have to do is think about it for a minute. Human beings, yes, they could do evil. Yes, they could do wrong. Yes, they could create misery. But they could also do exactly the opposite. They could choose to do evil. They could choose to do tremendous good. They could choose to do tremendous violence. They could choose to show tremendous compassion. They could choose to live by falsehood. They could choose to live by the greatest truths. They could be terribly ugly. They could be terribly beautiful. And up until that point in my life, I, like the angels, that only saw one side of the coin. And for the first time when I read that verse, believe it or not, it was an eye-opener for me.
And when your Lord said to the angels, "I am placing on the earth one that shall rule as my deputy," they replied, "Will you put there one that will do evil and shed blood?" This is the angels. "When we have for so long sung your praise and sanctified your name," and he said, "I know what you know not."
I had always been obsessed with the evil potentials of human beings. When I read that verse, I realized that...
I mean, it makes sense. He said his dad physically abused him as a child. I have no idea what that's like, because my parents always... they never did that.
And I had a great example right in front of me with my own mom. I realized that I had been blinded by only one side of human nature.